Hey DIYers, what's going on? Whiteboards with the Whiteboards channel. Thank you for watching. We are working on our Mercruiser outdrive lower unit, and we're going to show you the comparison between the old pinion gear bearing and the new one. Let's take a look. All right, DIYers, at the workstation now, and on the left-hand side, you can see the upper unit resting on a stand that is already rebuilt and patiently waiting for the lower unit to be rebuilt and put back together. And we're not actually going to show the full removal process of the pinion bearing. We're just going to remove it in a separate video, which is scrolling above. We'll probably do that tomorrow. And then we'll shift the old bearing next to the new one and show you the difference. However, let's get a closer look of the internal bearing in the lower unit. And to the workbench. DIYers, as you can see, we've got the lower unit torn apart. There is the drive shaft, the pinion gear and shift shaft, as well as crank. And we've also got the propeller shaft removed. There's the clutch dock and forward gear. We got it bagged up because it gives off a pretty potent oil smell. However, to the inside of the case, and I'm not sure if you can make it out, however, there is the bottom portion of the pinion bearing and all the 18 needles in our case with our specific lower unit and serial number. And let's go up top and take a look at the top view. Coming to the top portion of the lower unit, and as you can see, that cavity right there, all the way down at the bottom is our pinion bearing. And again, in our case, we have 18 needle bearings. And the two things that slide into that bearing is the bottom portion of our drive shaft. And again, that is the drive shaft that comes out of that little cavity and up about a foot and goes into the bottom portion of the upper unit. In addition, the pinion gear feeds ever so slightly into the bottom portion down below of the bearing. I'll try to scroll in here. And there it is. And again, in the event that you're curious on how to remove that, definitely check out that link that was scrolling above a bit ago. However, from here, what we're going to do is remove this tomorrow and show you this exact pinion bearing removed, sitting next to the brand new bearing that we're going to install. And let's check out the tools real quick. Coming down to the right side of the workbench, these are the clever tools that we will use to remove the bearing as well as install the new bearing. And this is the removal tool. This is the driver rod, the driver, and we will actually have to remove this washer because we need that washer installed on the driver rod when removing that internal bearing. And basically that keeps the driver rod stable and doesn't allow it to harm the inner portion of the lower case where that drive shaft and bearing go into. So again, from here, we're going to remove the bearing. We'll be right back with you. DIYers, we are back with you. The pinion gear bearing is removed, and here it is. And again, in our case, we have 18 needle bearings, and they all came out. And during the removal process, the bottom portion of that bearing carrier or case actually cracked in 4 different pieces. And I took about a minute and put it all back together. It's quite easy. Again, there it is. Let's go get the new bearing. Here it is on the right-hand side, the new bearing, and it came wrapped up and in a box, as you can see here. Let's go ahead and unwrap it. Here is a close-up of one single needle that goes inside that bearing carrier. I changed camera angles, and again, we are going to unwrap this bearing. Be extremely careful. Go slow. No need to rush this. You do not want those needle bearings falling out of the new carrier. And there it is. Set that aside. I'll give you a better view of it. To a better camera angle now, and again, on the left-hand side, the old bearing, and on the right-hand side, the new bearing. And as you can see, it says this end up USA, and then it's got a part number. And you can see the internal needle bearings are well greased from the manufacturer, and then you actually see a circular piece of cardboard. And that actually has a title, and it is called the cardboard shipping sleeve. And per the service manual, that is to stay in all the way until you actually insert the drive shaft and secure the drive shaft and pinion gear with the pinion gear nut. So that piece of cardboard is very important because it keeps the needle bearings in place during the entire time you are moving this and shifting it in place inside the lower unit and installing it. And on the opposite side, you'll notice that the outer edge here does not have any part numbers or letters or numbers on them. This is the bottom portion of the carrier. And I'll set that back aside. I'll pick up the old one, and I'm actually going to let these crumble just like that. Again, it came out like this when we punched it out with that tool. And this is the bottom portion. So as we were punching it, all 18 of the needle bearings were installed around the entire inner portion, and we used that punch tool to shift it in place and pound this entire piece out. And honestly, it came out very easily and in a friendly manner. However, at the tail end of this removal, it just broke. And all these needle bearings came pouring out, which is no problem to us because, again, we are replacing this. And anytime you take this out, replace it. Never remove a pinion gear bearing just to install the needle bearings with new grease. just keep this in there if that's what you were planning on doing. So I just wanted to show you that. And again, the new piece right here. We're excited to get this installed in the lower unit. Scrolling above right now is a video link that takes you to the video of installing this exact pinion bearing. Here's the bottom portion of it. And again, well greased. Taking a step back and DIYers, that's it. Hey, down below in the comment section as well as the description section are links on how to build this Craftsman workbench. It's a 6-foot bench. Add the drawers and install a swivel vise. Definitely check those out if you're interested. And again, that's it. Hopefully this helps. Do us a favor, below the video you will see that thumbs up icon. Click on that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Definitely ring your YouTube bell. That would be very helpful to us. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. And we are ready to get that pinion bearing installed.